Hi everyone, good evening. Everyone is joining, so we'll give them 2-3 minutes to settle down. Hi guys, good evening. So how are you guys?
Batch strength?
Vishwa, everyone is saying good evening to you.
Good evening everyone. Hello guys.
So let's get started. So hi everyone, good evening. I hope you all are doing well. And today we have a very special guest because he is our alumnus from batch 2018-20, and so we welcome Vishwa Prakash to our series of webinar, which is Wednesday with Alumni. So I'll introduce you first, and maybe the students get to know you first, and then maybe we can start. So Vishwa is currently working as a functional expert with CAPEX projects at Trident Group India. Vishwa is skilled in public speaking, management, teamwork, leadership, and business analytics. Vishwa also was the head coordinator of the TOEFI Club. So when you guys will be coming, you'll be getting to know about the various clubs. So there's one club, which is the TOEFI Club, the Finance Club. He was the head coordinator. Vishwa interned with Trident India, and he bagged a PPO, pre-placement offer of 21 lakhs. So Vishwa, I welcome you, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation to address a new batch of students. So now the platform is all yours.
Good evening everyone. Thank you so much Neha ma'am for the introduction, and I seriously thank PK sir and Neha ma'am for inviting me into this webinar. So hello guys. Let's keep this meeting as much informal as possible, but first things first, I'll share a little more about myself. I think Neha ma'am has already covered much about me. So
no, there's so much to tell you. I mean, you can share your experiences at ISBM, your professional experiences as Trident, and how you bagged this offer.
Yeah, sure.
There's so much to say.
Yeah. So as Neha ma'am said, I was interned at Trident Group. So as you guys must be aware, I've done my specialization in finance domain. But to be different, I've done my internship in warehouse automation. I was into supply chain domain, and this is where I want to put my first point out here. In fact, I'm sorry. There are a handful of points, in fact, to speak upon, but I'll touch on a couple of points with my experience at my Trident at my company, and later on we can ask some questions where we can hit on those points as well. I'm sure many of those points which I'm going to speak will be asked from you guys in event. So
yeah, they ask many questions. So maybe after you're done, I'll just take the questions from them.
Yeah. So to start off, yeah, I was in warehouse automation for 2 months. So that was a complete new domain for me. I mean, I never entered into a warehouse prior to that. So we started off slowly, try to understand what are the processes happening, what are the internal processes, how the equipments are working out, what is the situation, what's the costing factors basically. So we have and what is our scope actually. So that's how we try to research as much as possible. So as I mentioned, the processes, we have broken down the processes and try to implement what kind of mechanical, to be precise, they are called as MHEs, mechanical handling equipments. So how these work out and how these equipments can be integrated with ERP systems, or maybe we can implement something like WMS, so separate ERP system for warehousings, and how can we bring down our recurring cost, manpower, and also how can move towards automation, how the industry is moving towards. And many of you guys must be aware the industry is moving towards automation. So that is the new mantra the fashions of businesses, people are trying to automate as much as possible. Now, again, this question arises that, maybe there is any manpower reduction on this and not. So it depends. I mean, most of the companies try to see in such a manner, how can we upgrade manpower to use these technologies better? How can we bring down the uncertainties, risk factors? We can bring down those factors so that we can take better data. So better decision making. So how do we take a data backed decision making is the talk of the town right now. So that's the internship. So there we got an opportunity to meet many of the industries. We got to, like, for example, right now, many of the companies use barcode and all from a scanning point of view. Then from in case of storages, I'll keep on mentioning these things in detail, but there is something called ASRS system, automated storage and retrieval system, where it can cut down your warehouse space by 1/3, by 2/3, and only the warehouse manager or maybe a couple of members just to facilitate those machineries, they are going there. So it is going to change how the material handling happens, right? From there, we also have such technologies where we can, without any manual intervention, we can stuff the material into the containers with fraction of time. So that's how we can increase our throughputs. Okay. Cross functionality. So cross functionality is what? Trying to understand, see, coming from a finance background, to understand the other things and how the financial implications crop out, how the procurement cycles come into picture. Those things were the focal points during my internship. So as ma'am said, I was called back. So initially I started off my career with material management. Then we were into packaging section. So we are into towel, paper and yarn business. So towel business is basically make to order. So most of you guys must be aware what is make to order, right? So in the make to orders, everything is 100%, it is customizable as per orders. For example, you have a customer like IKEA. So IKEA will give you specifications that this is going to be my product dimensions, this is going to my quality, this is how my product is going to be packed, etc., etc. So that is how the entire supply system or entire planning comes into picture. So that is how. So this packaging, this is in fact this is the last section before the material moves into your FG, or if anyone must be familiar in the manufacturing production lines and all. So this is the most complicated part basically. So we had around 5,000 SKUs handling there, along all. I mean, starting from they may be valuing in paise and they may be valuing in thousands. So that is the scale of operations we used to handle. I was the in charge at one production line, at one manufacturing unit. So I was there at 5 months there. Then later on, I moved into strategic finance, where I used to take care of the projects, both large projects and routine projects. So then this is again a diverse thing. So when I started off, I was completely blank slate, to be, I just have to admit that. Then started off how to see a project. So how do you debottleneck things? Yeah, how do you make a decision? I mean, you will also come across make or buy decision, and maybe in the first trimester, second trimester in your operational finance subject. So how outsourcing functions works. Now, many of the companies work in an outsourcing mode. You must be aware, many of the FMCG companies, they outsource most of their operations, and they put more emphasis on the branding or brand building things and laying their operations and all. In fact, some businesses also outsource their distribution channels and all. So it depends upon how the industry it belongs, or what kind of product they handle, and those dynamics, right? So that is one side. The another side of the story is, see how you enhance your capacity. How do you debottleneck? So what is the impact of throughputs coming down, right? So those things are the focal points from a strategic point of view. Yeah. From another thing, I also got an opportunity to understand how yarn is being manufactured right from the cotton. Okay, what are the challenges happening? What are the machineries being implemented, and what are the players in the market who supply this industry? For example, LMW, we have a brand called LMW. So they are the top class vendors. So they supply these yarn making equipments in India. Okay, so that is another. In towel business, yes, we have a different stages. To be precise, I mean, if I'm not keeping these things heavy, started of things with heavy, but I'll just complete this thing and we'll keep things very, very light.
I guess the marketing students will be thinking, yeah, supply chain and this thing is complicated. Even I'm thinking it's complicated because I've never, I mean, I had my specialization in international business. So yeah, but I think all of these things, if someone is very interested in manufacturing companies and want to bag offer over there, so I think these are, and at least when we get to know about how value chain is added to an organization. It's great.
Exactly. So there is a catch to this long conversation. I'll take liberty of completing this thing. In case of towel, we have broader 3 sections where you have weaving, you have other house, and last with your packaging and all. So that's the complications of towel. Again, in paper business, you have an altogether a different units. You have something called pulping unit. You have a recovery unit where it converts the liquor comes out of the pulping plant. Again, it recovers as much as liquor as possible and sends back to the pulping. And this pulp goes to, I mean, certain chemicals are added back as per the SKU's requirements, and the pulp paper is made. So paper is, again, it's a single line production unit. Towel, yes, I mean, for example, if you want to make any kind of modifications as a paper unit, it will ask for entire shirt in either of the 3 units which I mentioned as recovery, pulp, or paper, or something like that. In paper, in case of towel, for example, if I wanted to put some attachment to the loom, for example, if I want to change the Dobby loom to jacquard loom, for example, I do not need to shut down the plant. Okay, so that is the dynamics to this. In case of yarn, again, it depends, because for example, we have around 40 to 40 ring frames, number of ring frames. So the material balancing or the productions can be taken care. So why I'm speaking these things, out of this 2-3 minutes which I spoke, I was a complete blank slate when I entered into this company last 9 months. So that's why I was speaking about cross functionality or learning new things. When you go out and you need to understand what is happening around you, that's very important. So that's the one point. Can I know what is the batch strength?
Right now we have 89 participants. It's actually 91, so 2 of us included. Yeah.
Okay. So how many of us from finance and how many of us from marketing and etc. and all? Can anyone help me out in? I mean,
there are many students. I mean, in chat box they are coming finance. So Prashant, many students are coming. Then marketing, finance. So many supply chain as well. Finance, marketing, supply chain. So as you can see in the chat box, many students are commenting on that.
Okay. So how many? I think all of us have decided what kind of specializations we have to take, and so how do we equip ourselves, and how are we gearing towards our MBA? Any chart? I mean, I wanted to know from them. I hope.
So we have a poll. If you want, you want me to do a poll? How many of them from?
If it is feasible, I mean, no kind of. If it's okay, we
just
can.
A second.
Just to know.
So what do you want? How many proportion of students in different specialization?
Yeah. If we get to know.
Sorry guys, I'm taking a little time.
Guys, I hope I have not bored you guys.
So I'm putting finance, marketing. HR and supply chain. Let's keep 4. Okay, so guys, you can vote, okay? So Vishwa will get to know.
Yes.
No, Vishwa, not at all. They are getting detailed conversation. Aarti is saying, but we have 2 specializations. You can mention about the first one.
First one, yeah.
Come on, guys, quickly vote. 80 approx have done. Suvashish is asking, Vishwa, did you had your, after this thing, you had prior experience before joining ISPM?
No, I don't have any experience. I'm a complete fresher. I have done my bachelor's and started off my college, then into the company.
Okay, so from where?
So I did my BCom from Andhra University. Prior then I was a CS student. So I completed my IPCC Group 1. Then I thought maybe I can, explore businesses from larger extent. In CA, yes, we all see in-depth businesses from a financial point of view, taxations or auditing. But I thought maybe we can explore businesses more than finance and all. So I've shifted to management.
Okay, and they're asking about what made you choose finance.
It's quite simple. There is no rocket science in that. I was more inclined towards the finance. Initially, I was a finance guy. So I'm passionate about finance. Right now, if you ask me to do a job in finance, I'm ready to shift and do a job in finance at Trident. So I was very much fascinated how financials work at manufacturing companies. So I was waiting for this opportunity, and I was quite lucky enough, and all thanks to college, I got into Trident.
That's great. So Vishwa, we got the poll from the audience. Around 36% students are from marketing, 36% finance, HR 16%, and supply chain 11%. So I end the poll.
Okay. So
now, before that, do you want to take two or three questions have come up?
Yeah.
Nikita is asking, so did you complete your CA as well? CS, I think you said CS, right?
CA, Chartered Accountant. No, I didn't my CA, but I intend to complete my CA.
Acha, you intend to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Let's
great.
see how things move on.
Okay. So one question is very interesting. What are the skills during internship they look for and provide the PPO?
Definitely. This is what I want to put more on. So I hope my voice is clear.
Yeah. Perfectly audible.
Okay. See, in case of internship, see how the seniors or your manager will see. I mean, they think they don't judge you what kind of knowledge you bring in. So they are more interested on what is your intent, what are your commitment levels. Of course, ethics is very important. So there are instances I will share. I mean, these are shared by our seniors and faculties there. Some of our seniors, they have given some wrong reimbursement forms. So these kind of things will give a black mark when you attend into your internship. So internships basically for a fresher is the first time you're stepping into the companies. So you will be facilitated, you will be trained well, but what is expected out of you is commitment, intent, how are you grasping to things, and how are you taking your exposure there, and what kind of inputs you're giving. So they are more see, nothing is right or wrong. So what they, at least at your internship level, they've never object you. For example, if you're giving an idea, okay, or you're saying that this particular processes can be simplified in this way. So there is no question, at least there is no question that is it practical or not, but how are you applying is more matters. For example, we had our fellow interns, so they were given a project. how they are supposed to study the SOPs, which are very much complicated enough. Then how do you smoothen the processes? Because internal controls also play a vital role. For example, I'll give you an example. In case of my in the projects, okay, in the project, so we have a different levels of approval hierarchies. So each person, there is a sanctity to that. Each person have a different perspective to see. For example, the SEM head will also be given an approval, so he will see the commercials part, how do they negotiate and all. So how, given the constraints and given the requirements, how do you smoothen the internal processes is very important. Another thing is tech savvy. How do you crunch data, or how, how are you equipped with the current data, current technologies, and what is happening in the industry around. So they will give you sufficient. Most of the projects are research kind of projects. Okay, so for example, for finance guys, I'll give you an example for finance guys. So they will, for most of them will be getting into financial products and all. So financial products, most of them into stock markets and all. So how do you see a particular stock? So how, for example, if you're given to trade, so what is the amount you're going to trade, and how do you see the stock in the next coming 15 days, or overnight trading, or the intraday trading, for example, depending upon the company's nature, or depending upon what kind of profile you're given. So that is how you've seen about. It is not just that हाँ उस particular stock की इतना price होने वाला था, आपकी prediction गलत निकली. That's not important. In case of marketing, most of them will be asked to go into the market, try to understand how do you sell that particular product. So marketing, so you should be very much passionate about, how you have to interact with people each and every day, and you need to sell off that product in the first, maybe you need to convince, in fact, in the first meeting, how you wanted to interact. So that is how you need to create a lead.
Okay. So, I think it's very insightful for them. So the questions are pouring in. So you have taken the analysis. You want to speak more on that, or maybe I can take questions. How do you want that, Vishwa?
It's their choice. If they wanted to know more on it, or maybe more specific, then I can.
So maybe you can speak for another 5-10 minutes, and then maybe the questions, they want more on it. So maybe you can do the analysis, whatever you have taken, and maybe then we can take the questions.
Analysis of precisely of the internship, or how the industry is, or what kind of exactly
your experiences. Even you can share your personal experiences with them, your hostel experiences.
Actually I'm looking for that see, I have to mention this seriously. I'm impatiently waiting for an interaction, or maybe seriously we want to go to college, at least for our
convocation.
We want to go to college, relish our memories, and trust me guys, it's going to be the best experience of your life. Though I've seen my best days of my life, because from a studies point of view, from your personal growth, maybe from entertainment, you have a number of events coming up in the college, where you can yourself free up yourself, you can relax yourself, you can participate there, stuff and all, and there is no limitations in our college. To the extent you go and do things, you will be encouraged. Okay, and it is like self-functional groups, self-help groups. So you will be given a lot of limits. There is no limit to stuff, and you'll be given a lot of responsibilities, and so that you exercise yourself and you bring in new ideas. Every time it's a new idea, every time it's a new kind of pitch. When you speak to people outside, you speak to your juniors and all, so you'll know more about it when you interact with your seniors in the coming sessions, in your immediate seniors and all. And in college, yes, nightlife is going to be fun. And I don't think the lights will be off at the college. So you if you can study, you can keep on studying, you can keep on working on the projects, and all the time things are available to you, and you just keep on increasing your boundaries, and keep on growing, keep on blooming simply.
Okay. You know what they're saying, they want your more experiences on work. So if you have something to share more on internship, or maybe the current role, and maybe the previous role that you have handled at Trident, maybe more on that.
Yeah, sure. So to get into more analysis, or to get into more detailing, I'll start off with my internship. So to explain the project, I'll explain the project in maybe a couple of minutes. See, we out of the first 1 month I was seriously impatient. I thought we will build smart warehouses, we will integrate chip systems, we'll build smart dashboard stuff and all. Okay, so I mean it's not so much practical, but as I mentioned, these things were never pointed out or never been stopped that you no aap upar bahut upar soch rahe ho, niche ho. No, it never happens. So at that particular time, we went to Future Warehousing. Future Group has also a subsidiary into warehousing. So we went there, try to understand how the warehousing happens, what is the internal controls, what are the safety standards, how to maintain, what is the operations happening. In fact, that is an FMCG project, and we have a different products, but a relevance to it. So coming to the subject, yes, we have worked upon three basic sections. One is fully automated. How do we build a fully automated warehouses? Second thing, how to integrate these mechanical equipments and we streamline these processes enough. And the third thing is how we can put on this battery operated equipments in the warehouses, and how can we save down. Say, I'll give you an astonishing fact. Out of my working, it is found that we can cut down minimum by 30% of your manpower cost when we go with the least automated proposals we have given out. Okay, so
Okay.
that is how it moves. So if you go to the fully automated warehouses, we have conveyor systems in the market, different types of conveyors. In fact, we have, for example, if you have a bigger number of SKUs, then we have a pick and put to light systems. They have already implemented in the industry. I guess Future Warehouse has already completely implemented. So they tackle around 1 lakh SKUs at their warehouse at Noida, if I'm not wrong. So these things seriously work, and if they are integrated to the ERP systems, they work wonders. That is one thing. The basic challenge any typical warehouse face is the loading capacity. For example, if you see the example of COVID, so COVID, in case of we are into a manufacturing business, any make to order stuff and all, if you are having orders and all, and you must be aware how supply chains have impacted due to these lockdowns in case of COVID. So you can't stop a plant. You, I mean, manufacturing keeps on happening, and you can't dispatch. So there will be huge inventories at warehouses. I've seen big inventory levels at warehouses. It took three and a half months to dispatch all those things and clear and bring to a normal stock levels. So that is a big time challenging when you have an astonishing stock levels at warehouses. All your internal controls which are set down or tend to fail. So you can't have allocated bin systems. Those things fail up. You can't even locate those things. This in turn will increase your TAT when you're loading. It also increase it also bring down your throughputs. You can't even receive those materials on time. So this will also impact your production line from behind. So it is having a cascading impact, in fact. So these are the practical challenges we generally people face now. And once the things normalizes, and it depends upon how fast we adopt to those things and we normalize our situation, is what matters a lot. For example, now the COVID has, I mean, during this after post lockdown first wave, precisely about the first wave, after a couple of months, we have come into the normal stock levels. Everything has come into the normal life and all. So they have impacted to a larger extent. So the second aspect on the placement, on the job thing is I'll put more focus on the strategic finance part. The company have a strategic aims to it, strategic objectives. They lay strategic objectives, and how do you accomplish? And you also have to see what are the cash flows happening up. For example, you manufacture things and we're not able to dispatch. You also face a cash crunch. Liquidity is a big time issue in those businesses. Fortunately, we are into export business. Export is doing good now, so things are moving good. And to cater the strategic functions of the market, we also have to plan. And for example, in the production line, for example, any production line, if you have debottleneck, I'll share you an experience in one of the towel plant. I can't go into the more detailing, but I'll share you to the larger extent as possible. In a towel plant, so we have debottlenecked a particular process. Okay, now if we debottleneck a particular process, the subsequent process smoothen down. Again, further, if you go to the process house and the washing section, it again it gives a bottleneck. So end of the day, if I have invested 5 crores or 10 crores in a particular process, a particular part of the particular production line, and we are not able to increase our throughputs, I don't think it will become a productive, or it will be any cost saving or revenue generating investment. Yes, if you could save some manpower, I don't think manpower saving to larger extent will give you a bigger ROAs or a lower payback investments to that. So that is the another thing. So I think
Okay.
I've given a brief idea about products and all.
But I think even Trident has been impacted a lot, like you were saying about the pandemic.
Yeah.
So now things are okay.
Yeah, things are okay. During the COVID, there were some restrictions, but they have ramped up things at faster. They have adopted things at a faster pace. They have taken care of the employees. During the second wave also, they have taken care about the employees. Also, they have released the salaries in advance. So they have coped up to a larger extent, and they are doing really well.
Oh, that's great. Now many interesting questions are coming up. So for finance, how are the job opportunities after the pandemic?
So in case of, everyone must be aware, pandemic has really changed the way of working, and the industries also have shifted their gears. They have also changed how they look towards things. For example, if you see 3 months back, then there were not big time hiring because they were uncertain how the market is going to be next 6 months. For example, right now there is a fear among the industry about the third wave and all. Those are into B2C and all. So the consumer purchasing, the pattern the consumer purchases, there is a big time difference in that. So that is one thing. In case of hiring, in case of post pandemic, the hirings are picked up now. Those companies are doing well. They are already picking up people, and you need to update to the new skills, and you need to also work upon the remote work. They see people with a, you must be having a competitive edge when you go to the market. That's how you can sell off.
Okay.
I think I have cleared, but if there are any other questions or any doubts.
Many questions. Aditi, Arti, if you want to ask more on this, you can just type on the chat box.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, next question is how we can improve our CV as being a fresher.
As a fresher, see, you have to fit. I have worked upon a couple of skills upon. Some skills we have worked on in the college. Some skills we were aware of that, and we couldn't, unfortunately, we couldn't done. And some skills we could have done. So we don't want you to make those mistakes, and we want you guys to be more equipped. So Excel, you guys must be mastering Excel irrespective of what kind of specialization you are. In case of finance, you guys must be, top of your table. In case of Excel, more importantly, you must be aware, you must be knowing what kind of functions or what kind of actual Excel operations they do. At a college level, we predict, in case of pivot tables, this is the basic pivot table, and we practice and leave it and all. We have to, check for such courses in the internet. There are multiple courses on Excel, and YouTube is a big source for understanding, for learning and mastering your Excel. So you must be able to do the basic functions. What are the basic functions happening? For example, I'll give you transpose. So it is a simple, transpose is a simple function. We also have, we can put a formula and can transpose those things. And so we can copy paste it and transpose that particular table. So day to day, in case of day-to-day operation, most of your day-to-day operations work on Excel. Okay. Even though you have ERP systems, it is a data entry and a data retrieval format, but end of the day, when you create any report, you need to crunch the data, and you need to structure it and streamline the data. And another thing is when you doing reconnaissance, reco. So you get a data from a different department or from a different unit, and you're asked to check, and you're asked to check the credible information being credible, or you're asked to check how relevant the information and all. For those things, you must be mastering basic and advanced Excel things. Again, to move that thing most precisely, how you are doing data analysis in Excel is very important. For a marketing guys, you get a market intelligence report, or you get some daily, monthly, on a monthly basis, you get reports from your customers. For example, IKEA sends you a monthly data to you if you're into towel thing, or if you're into yarn thing, and also you have to mastering your Excel. You must be knowing which data you need to pull out. For that, you need to build up your skills on this. And another thing is, in case of finance guys, you must be aware of doing how the financial modeling. I'm sure you'll be having a subject called financial modeling
Yeah.
in your second year. Along with financial modeling, you must be using complicated functions and all and formulas. You need to be geared up. I'll give you a simple formula, simple thing which we have realized during thing. For example, if you have a course now, for example, a financial modeling course is going on right now. So you enroll another course along with this, along with the course or subject with your professor. You also enroll another course outside and keep doing it parallelly so that you will not face any kind of pressure later or point of time, and you can't keep on postponing, right? So that is what you can do. And basic data analysis course, you have to do with the basic data analysis course. Another most important basic thing which matters a lot, PowerPoint. Please learn PowerPoint presentation. How can you make an appealing PowerPoint presentation? 50% of your problems will be faced with a appealing PowerPoint presentation. So apart from this, there are courses like Python, SQL, Tableau, R programming. For supply chain guys, you must be focusing more on R programming. Okay, so those things will work upon. And Tableau is a very good course where you guys can learn now. It is a data visualization. Like again, there are two things. Now, one thing is data analysis, another is data visualization. So how do you present the data is also very important in case of industries. Initially, I'll share you something. Initially, I thought, yeah, initially I was under the impression that if you have a better data analysis, it is okay, or if you have a better thought process, it's okay. But how do you translate your idea, or how do you present your inferences to your, at least to the management? If you weren't able to articulate, if you're not able to visualize what you want to see or your observations in the data, it will not make any impact, or it will not make any difference to those management. So visualization is equally important with the data crunching or data analysis, in short. So there are many courses in the market. You have to keep exploring things, and please do courses, additional courses and certification courses along with your course itself. So that is how I think we should be doing this. This is what I have seriously realized at my college days. And
no, there are seriously good programs, guys, certification courses, which you can get at a very reasonable cost from Coursera, EDX. So there are multiple platforms to gain knowledge. It's just that you need to have that passion that you want to learn something. And Vishwa, to be really honest, I want to comment this. And this has been a very informative webinar. I mean, I know many questions are coming and we'll be taking that. We have good time, but very informative. I think the students must be gaining a proper perspective that what are the skill set that actually is required in the industry when you start working. Okay. So now another question is, can finance specialization candidate can get good job opportunities in FMCG industry or aviation?
yes,
You're working in FMCG, right?
No, I'm working in a textile industry now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are into home textiles, and we are into paper industry. See, in case of FMCG, see, I would really suggest you guys to go into financial products to understand the financial products better. But that's okay. If you go and wanted to get into manufacturing companies, you have to build your skills accordingly. Number one, you should have more impetus on the operating finances, costing. So there is something called cost controlling and cost cutting. So cost controlling and cost optimization. I'm so sorry. So they have a different conception. So you must be mastering how do you optimize your cost, how do you control your cost with the same benefits you reap out of it. That is one thing. You will be posted into this costing domain, or you will be posted into reporting domain. So in case of reporting domain, you have to consolidate the data happening, or maybe you will be posted into banking function, or if you go into depth into the banking function, how do you rotate the funds and all, how do you manage that funds? I mean, that sourcing of funds precisely, apart from your investors funds. Another thing is how do you if you are a company into export function and all, so how do you hedge your foreign exchange risks? That is one thing. And also companies will not much many companies see the frontline operations will matter. For example, for a manufacturing company, end of the day, what matters is how much quantity are you producing? Are you breaking the previous tasks, previous targets or not? That is important. So I mean, for example, if you earned 100 crores in a in your frontline operations, and if you earn 10 crores in case of you have circulated your money or you have invested your money somewhere, it's not going to make a big time difference. But that is equally important in the ways when you make sure that money is not sitting idle in your account. It is parked in some better way, and it is also free of risk, and you're earning some income which is assisting your frontline operations. So in case of manufacturing companies or FMCG companies or aviation, I'll come to it. In case of FMCG, I regard this as a manufacturing companies, not a service-based company. So in these companies, more of operational side, more in case of corporate finance. In case of corporate finance, you will be into sourcing of funds, or into maybe risk management, or you will be asked into strategic finance, which I mentioned, similar to my role, which I was handling then maybe you will be asked to maybe in the accounts department. I don't think accounts department is such a dynamic function there, but more of capitalization, or more of taking care about your payments or receipts and all. I don't think that will make a big time difference. Maybe you can also be offered depending upon the company's sensibilities. We can't come to go draw conclusions. In case of aviation sector, it is a service based company. So another important function cropping out is pricing. So ma'am can speak more about on elasticity.
Obviously, I'll be doing that when they will be coming to my economics class.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they'll enjoy your classes. I'm sure they'll enjoy your classes.
I hope so. Okay. So Prateek is asking, how do you manage to deal with people who are senior to you by age, but professionally you are senior to them? That's interesting.
That is right, but it is a tricky question. In fact, you face some issues in the initial part of this. Yeah, I also face some issues, but you should maintain such kind of professionalism in front of them to make sure the what do I say precisely, that importance should come out of you, out of your profile, and out of how do you speak and how do you interact with them. Automatically things will work out. I mean, in many of the good companies, what is your age, it doesn't matter. What is your experience, doesn't matter. Of course, you can take guidance from them. Those people can brief you well before you step into that role, out of the experience and all. But your decision making is what important. Even though they are senior to you, and they are junior in your role, they will be looking for the instructions from you. So what kind of instructions you're giving, how you're managing your team is important. So irrespective of what kind of experience you're having.
Okay. Nikhil is asking, should we consider pursuing CFA during MBA or opt for it later?
Definitely, I think you have to pursue your CFA. Actually, I couldn't do that, and I'm seriously looking for that. It was my second option with my CA. You can clear your level 1 along with your first year. I think it should be fair enough. I don't think it's on a tougher side. If you are able to spare at least 200 hours for that course, I think you should be clearing. And if you're completing pursuing your CFA along with your MBA, it will widen your it will also widen the scope how you see things towards it. So it will also increase your technical knowledge, and I think you should do it. And maybe you can give an attempt on second level when you're second year. I think it should work out. Maybe before your internship, if you clear level 1, it will give a lot of edge before you sit in the internship companies. I think you should do that.
Okay, Rohan is asking about how time management is very important in finance domain. I think it's very important in all the domains. You need to manage your time. Okay, that one thing. Another question from Shreyas: did you ever thought that you will get PPO and that too worth rupees 21 lakhs? What was your first reaction after that?
Okay, so first we will follow FIFO system. We'll take the first question. See, time management is most important thing, and that is what you have to learn in your MBA days. You need to spend time what is required. I mean, I'm saying that you need to, for example, you will find a section of people in our, since you guys are already into college, so I can say this too. There are a section of group of the students I've seen in my batch, and also my seniors as well, and juniors in fact as well. So they only take part in the other activities. They are not interested in the academics and all. So that is a big time mistake you guys make. it may work in some cases, it may not work in some cases. I don't assure that it won't work, but you have to maintain your academics. You also have to gain knowledge from the other courses, from CFA, some other certifications along with your course. Also, you have to participate in the activities in the college. That is how you learn. Number one, college, working in the pressure. Number two is entrepreneurship. Number three is how do you manage your, in case of juniors, how do you work in a team building. Because when you meet, you will find your peers working, coming from a different part of the country, everyone from a different part of the country. So everyone have a different way of looking at things. If someone coming from having a work experience, he is more matured, you guys will get something to know about them. You, someone having a fresh idea, someone is more innovative, someone working hard, striving hard. So he while interacting, working closely with him, you will definitely get motivated. Many of the times I seriously get a lot of motivation from those people. I have, fortunate enough, I have some very good friends who keeps on striving. I have some friends who are literally street smart, so they know how to get things done even at the last moment. We have people who are very sorted, they plan things up in very advance. Some people who have extreme great communication skills. Another important thing is you should have a very good communication skills irrespective of what kind of specialization you guys hail from. That is also very important for a marketing guy, anyone, for example. So that is how you can sell off your idea at an internship stage, before sitting an interview, or maybe at your company's at all. So time management, coming to the time management, you have to keep scheduling yourself. You need to see, this is 2 years. You have to, you have an equal share of enjoying your life, but along with that, you have to strive yourself and you have to stretch yourself, my friends. I'm saying this is going to reap you a long-term fruits for that. So in case of time management, any precise thing can give a better answer, but on a broader spectrum, I think this will support to the question. So the second question, I think I was asked about, did I think about my
that PPO that were you expecting you get a PPO, and when you got to know the news, what was your reaction?
Yeah. So before this, I'll share one thing. I was the last guy to get an internship from our college.
Oh, okay.
I got my internship in the first week of April. I'll share you some internship stories now. If I'm not taking time, I think I should not bore you guys. There is some
Hello?
Yes, please.
I was saying it's very informative. Yes, Vishwa, you can take your time.
So initially, we are called and said that CRISIL is coming to our college. I mean, I was seriously excited. I prepared everything. Okay. Then I have also started understanding how the credit industry works. Again, what big time mistake I've done is I try to observe things which I couldn't do. There are many complicated stuffs and technological stuff which I couldn't relate even at that time, but I tried to digest as much as possible so that I can make a mark, and somehow I wanted to get into the company. I went to the company. I'll tell you one thing. I missed out basic 4 slides of the presentation which were taught in the first year. I had a basic idea about them, but it would be great if I could have seen. I missed the basic things. So that is very important. If in the quest of going towards advanced things, we generally missed out of what basic things and the underlying things which we should be very much sure of. And those are the things they wanted, to more better. So CRISIL went, the interview went on, more or less it was a very good interview. Then there are, I have to admit, there are a couple of questions which I couldn't answer, and seriously, I humbly said I have no idea about that. So that it went on well, but somehow didn't get into CRISIL. I assessed myself. The assessment is in front of you. The second company came, Kohler. I thought this is the company. I've targeted the company Kaisa at any cost. I should get into this company. So every possible thing I've learned upon, and one of our senior has already interned with that. So I have taken guidance from him. Somehow it went very well. Everything was under my control. The 20-25 minutes of the interview, everything was under my control, and I was damn sure this is my company. and I didn't get into that company. Then came certain financial markets and some financial services companies and all. I was not interested to sit in those companies. I somehow accept those companies. Then later on, I was very much worried and tensed. What happened? What will happen? Then came Trident. The basic ingredient for getting into Trident, I just hit on the basic to basic things. I just saw their annual reports and I just saw what is the trends are going on and just got into the interview and just tried to know what is Trident and what are the product offering and where it is. That's it. That's it. I didn't prepare anything. If I compare my preparation of Trident along with Crisil, there is a hell and heaven difference. But it was a exhaustive and 45-minute interview, and it went on well. In fact, the 12 of us others, they also it went on well. But somehow, in case of Trident, I was very much confident, and I have answered all the questions they have asked, and they have done a 360-degree analysis of every possible thing in finance they have tested. So I could have answered a couple of questions. I couldn't. I was aware of those questions, but I think I should take some time for it. But I let off those questions. Another important, if you sit in an interview, don't think that if you have answered you should answer all the questions. There may be situations where you must be little much panicking or aware of that. Don't try or put on. For example, if you try to answer those questions and if you feel yourself not confident yourself that you couldn't answer those questions, it somehow will back end because you इस क्वेश्चन को मैंने सही से आंसर किया है नहीं. So some of your energies will get into that, which is not going to make any impact, and you'll start panicking, and it will impact the other part of interview as well. If you do not know that particular question, just humbly admit that I do not have any idea about this question. No one is going to judge. The interviewer will be pretty much happy instead of beating around the bush.
Okay, that's some good tips coming, guys. So another question is, what type of student you were and what will be your suggestion for experienced students? How hard it is for an experienced student to get placed?
Experienced students are always given a priority in case of if you guys there's no doubt of it, you'll get a competitive edge on others, but you should gain as much as possible. So what is expected out of it is the maturity level. So that will be the distinguishing factor with the freshers, and freshers should also match up with with those people who have already experienced. And coming to my academics, I was a pretty average student before I was into ISBM, and things have turned around when I was ISBM. Seriously, I should admit, when I was in CA, there are many concepts I have already aware of those things. In the first trimester, more or less, there was those concepts cropped out in case of finance, but other subjects are pretty much new to me. So whatever you have, they will seriously encourage on whatever knowledge you have, and they will, each individual basis, they will focus upon. They know what the particular student is doing, so they encourage you a lot, and they will feel you confident. So confidence will take you a long way. Okay, so what I have learned is, apart from the knowledge, apart from the skill sets I gained from my gurus at Trident, at our college, I'm seriously indebted to that. But apart from that, you must be feeling confident. And how I was a pretty much average student, and I could do very well at my academics. Let me admit that I was not a topper of the batch, but and maybe second or third in something, that could only happen because of the classes, because of the approach, and because of how they encourage you towards it. You'll have some good days, you'll also have some bad days, but that's okay. You have to keep going on.
Okay. Vartika is asking, I graduated in engineering in year 2019 with zero work experience. Will that gap of 2 years affect my chances of getting a PPO?
I mean, it is a subjective question, because certain companies won't consider. For example, you have a company called ITC Infotech, which is a regular recruit for college. So basically, they are a little more susceptible if you have a gap. But certain companies, they don't mind those gaps. and certain companies even give you more preference come from an engineering background and all. I'm sure you are enrolled yourself into SEM domain. So how do you leverage your engineering and how do you sell off? You, for example, you don't think that is as a negative point. How do you turn that into? How do you turn your adversaries into your opportunities? Is what important. So you have to make such kind of uh, what do I say? An important pitch or such an appealing pitch that this factor doesn't even crop out at your interview. I think that should work out. You should work on that. You should
Yeah.
skills and all. And I don't think many of the companies will look for that. Yes, some companies, according to their policy, they may not consider, but that is a subjective thing.
Great. Aarti is asking, learning different languages is a good option. Like, should be aware of other languages. And I'll share something. When I was talking to Vishwa, and Vishwa is currently posted in Ludhiana, and I'm a Punjabi,
Yeah.
and I was asking him, Vishwa, kuch Punjabi सीखी तुमने?
Yeah.
So Vishwa, here comes the question. Who thought we would be getting a question like this?
I would say I am a South Indian. My mother tongue is Telugu. I'm from an Orissa. I'm from Orissa. I can speak Odia and Telugu before, and which ways I can speak Hindi and English. I was at a different part of the country throughout my education. I was at Guntur, place called Guntur, in my internship, where I did my CPT stuff and all. I prepared my CA at Chennai, at a different part of the country again. Then I was in Pune for an MBA. In fact, at Visakhapatnam for my CAT preparation, then went to Pune, then now into, into Punjab. So you must be a Roman in Rome. So try to grasp as much as possible so that you don't have resistance towards that. So you should be more of acceptance. If I'm sure if you are from a marketing perspective, I mean, you should seriously gel up with the culture and with the language. You'll start learning for the language if you show that intent. I did a mistake by showing resistance at Chennai. I seriously honest that when I was at Chennai, so I can't speak Tamil, but I can understand better Punjabi. Maybe I can speak certain words in Punjabi, but I seriously I can't understand Tamil, a bit of Tamil. To the people in English or Hindi, whatever it is, but that is a mistake I've done. I don't want you guys to do that. Wherever you go, please be a Roman in the room.
Okay.
It's personal suggestion.
Okay, that's nice. So Priya is asking, where do you see yourself in next 5 years in the corporate sector? Your long-term planning.
It's a personal question, but I would take to this question. See, in a long-term perspective, if you see, I see myself as a consultant. I want to gain as much as knowledge as possible. Maybe there are two pathways to it. I also think of starting off my own entity at my place, at my company. So I will see how things move out. But maybe in coming 5 years, I will see myself as a team lead. But I see more importantly is how much command you're having, what command you're having in the knowledge. And if you're into a manufacturing companies or you're having into any operations, or if you put your energies into the core operations, you try to gain on it, the other functions are all interrelated to it. So automatically, this question I should be answered I don't want to answer this question the way I should answer in an interview, but I'm giving a different perspective to that. See, it is the command you get on what kind of product offering the company is giving and the internal processes. Definitely you will step up the ladder faster than you think. The companies will definitely nurture you. So I think I should see myself as a team lead or
Vishwa, could you please repeat the last thing that you shared? Because there was, I think, a lag. Sometimes the internet, lagging.
Yeah. So I think myself as a team lead or a head of a department, given the thing, you should gain a command on the core operations the company is doing. To be precise, the frontline operations, if you gain the command on the frontline operations of the company, definitely you are going to step up the ladder faster, and the company is going to nurture you, and the company wants to retain you they will retain you at any cost, and definitely you're going to add up value, and these things add up to you in And I don't think many of the companies follow the hierarchy even. So it is more of a hierarchical thing.
Okay. Rohan asking, is it worth pursuing FRM after MBA?
As I said, see, if you are interested into risks, another thing I also wanted to speak on this context. Yes, I do have a point on this. Most of us, see, in case of colleges or in case of any college, for example, it's not about that. Most of the colleges where we do not know what is risk. So they start off what is the risk and understanding the risk, and you have to step up these things, understanding how, what is the, identify the risk, quantify the risk, and you need to know what are the techniques, how do you hedge that particular risks and all. If you're interested in this stuff and all, definitely you must be enrolling in your FRM course parallelly with your MBA. And everyone, I seriously advise to all the finance guys, precisely finance and IRM guys, please focus on the risk thing. There are companies are also trying to analyze risk. Risk is the new subject cropping out, and analytics is playing a very creeping into the risk thing, because it is very much complicated. You need a lot of data to be captured and lot of data to be crunched to understand what is the risk you're hailing on. It is not that you have a credit risk, market risk, and some other three risks. There are multiple risks at the industry level, and new number of risks are cropping out into the market. You must be aware of things. For example, if for example there is a credit risk. In case of credit risk, there are multiple things beneath the credit risk: interest rate risk, market fluctuation risk. There are number of things in case of risk management. So please, everyone must be aware of the risk management subject. At least do certain basic working, and those people into IRM or those people who are more fascinated into IRM, please also be equipped with the statistical techniques. I'm sure our professors will teach you the good statistical techniques, but please do some homework, and how these statistical techniques can be used into the business process is very much important. Another thing is, for example, in case of as I mentioned, pricing. In case of pricing, as mentioned, ma'am will share her, will teach you more about elasticity, and so how elasticity is used for pricing mechanism and all. That is more. Just giving an example. So there are many subjects where you feel that they are just theoretical subjects, just इसको marks के लिए पढ़ना है या knowledge based, इसको पढ़ लेते हैं, knowledge based बढ़ा लेते हैं. But इन चीजों, these subjects, these concepts has to be used in your business process. Unless it doesn't make any big difference, because it just be theory. If you're not merging these things into your business decision making, or maybe in certain applications, it won't make any big time sense. So statistics, please try to understand each technique, what is it is used for, and how that things will help out. In case of stock market, I mean, in case of technical analysis, statistics will come to big time picture, and understanding computation of your risk will give a big time help to you guys. And if, for example, there is something called Black Scholes model, there are a number of models in case of products and all. So where the technical statistical tools will come to picture. When those things are touched upon, we are not equipped with the statistic techniques. And जब हमको पढ़ाया गया उस time पे we are not we didn't give much of attention to it. Please don't do that. At least go back, ask your professors. Most of them will share you the object. I mean, the applications of them. Please, you yourself go into the internet, try checking why these techniques are used for. You'll get a lot of information, and it will increase your vertical, and you'll able to see the bigger picture. That is again a big time. You have to see the bigger picture around. For example, हमने ledger बना दिया, ठीक है? तो हमने, for example, learning the bridge course. In this, what happens is, for example, you have recorded the general entry, they go to general ledger, then finally it goes to the trial balance, it goes to the balance sheet, and it gets capitalized and goes to the balance sheet. This is the basic line of how the particular expense or particular asset you have purchased, or how you're facing the depreciation will finally end to the financial position of the company, financial position of company. In similar way, when you try to understand a particular concept, please try to see a bigger picture. Everything have a linkage, even though different subjects or different modules altogether. Try to link things up. And also you yourself, please put a lot of efforts in trying to see a bigger picture. How things will boil down to the business decisions is very important. हमने एक concept पढ़ लिया stand alone, इसके लिए हमने सीख लिया, we mastered that, but हमने उसको किस तरीके से apply करना हमको समझ में नहीं आया, या उसको हमने उस तरीके से equip नहीं हो पाए. It's not going to make any impact. So see the big picture around.
Okay. Questions are coming in. I know we have already exceeded our time, but I like to take last 2 questions, Vishwa. I mean, the questions are many, but let's end it. You can ask, I think you can connect Vishwa on LinkedIn, and I guess there was one particular comment wherein someone mentioned today only I connected with you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll share the name. Pratham. It's Pratham, who you remember we have connected on LinkedIn today. Yeah. I have taken finance and IRM. Okay. So any extra things to do in ESCOM?
ESCOM?
Yeah. Any extra thing, maybe some, I think we talked about the courses, maybe something more you want to advise them.
Understand the distribution channels, how the supply chain analytics is coming to picture. Supply chain analytics is a big time. You can connect many of my batchmates. They are doing very well in the supply chain analytics stuff and all. They are working as a consultant. I don't think I'm a big time expert, but please be equipped with new, as I mentioned, R. So if you see R, and these programmings will help you to demand planning. Okay, let me explain you what is demand planning things and all. So you use these technologies to assess what kind of forecast, what is your demand planning and all, and you try to re-engineer or restructure or maybe lay down your supply chains in such a way. So these all things are only possible when you have technologies in place. For example, you have industrial internet of things. These things will help you to capture data. For example, you have a barcode on a particular product. Okay, now there are companies where if you scan that particular barcode, you can entirely track on what batch number it has passed through at what particular process, where the lots, how the lotting system happened, where the lot did breakdown. Everything is only possible when technological interference is coming in the production line operations or in the supply chain, entire value chain operations. So this is how the technology will play into picture, and this is how, and the technology will help you to capture as much data as possible. So you must be equipped with these data crunching or data management techniques. So you must be aware of, there is a lot of data being captured from from these gadgets and these kind of technologies, and you must be knowing kaun se data kab lena, what data at what time you should be taking, and what kind of data will give you at what time of implication, and you need to hit on those things. That is the new way of looking at things. So this is real-time data-backed decisions is what companies are looking for.
Totally.
That is the basic and underlying thing, and it applies to the all origins of the business and all disciplines of domains or profiles you guys work on. For example, companies are adapting to the dashboards. Now companies are moving towards HANA. Many of the companies, in fact, are using SAP ERP systems. Some are using the other ERP systems. So many of them are adapting to the dashboards. In fact, we have already adapted to the dashboards. We have dashboards at a different level. For production, we have different level dashboards. For a quality, we have a different dashboard. Treasury dashboards, project dashboards. So they are directly integrated your ERP systems. Everything will, you'll get a real-time data. The data has been crunched, visualized in that format. So that's what I was speaking about, data visualization. That's what I was speaking about, data visualization. This will help you to take a decision, and also help you to, pinpoint and drill down where the issue is happening, the underlying issue. If you're not able to understand the underlying issue, and you're not able to take the decision or rectify that by making some moves, maybe smaller move or a big time decision, whatever it is going to be the same. It's not going to make an impact, and you'll end up putting money on it, and it's basically you have burned money. I seriously believe on this.
Okay. So Aviral is asking, and I'm taking this as the last question, is it advised to complete a certification in Six Sigma belts for supply chain?
Yes, I mean, many of, I am not aware of this thing, honestly, I should admit that, but I think you should do that. I've seen many of the corporate peers, they have completed the certification, and I think you should do that. I can't speak more precisely on this thing, honestly, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, my orientation, those things are concerned, definitely you should do to this, and it will be great if you have started doing it when your courses come out. At what time you should do it, it depends upon the subjects that come out, so that parallelly you can complete things so that you can relate things much better, and you can also save time.
Okay. There's one question that is coming. Someone has first commented that he has learned SAP HANA beginner level, and then
Yeah.
Lakshmi is asking, will experiences in HANA give a edge in placements? SAP HANA, I think it's a new software.
Ah.
HANA.
So initially SAP, it was SAP ECC 6. Then it was a mandatory move given by SAP that all the service providers has to migrate towards SAP HANA. So if you're having SAPM knowledge in SAP, definitely it is going to make a big time edge, because you already know the ERP system, how do you operate those T codes, and you know what kind of data to pull out from which T codes and all, and how can you interact with the ERP system better. Definitely it will make your employer's life easier, but it see which companies, I don't think all the companies will be adopting to SAP, so it depends. Only big, in fact, medium size and big size companies will always look for ERP systems who have larger operations. They need this kind of ERP system. Definitely, if you go for big time companies, definitely will give an edge to you guys. I mean, it should give you an edge to you guys, because I was not aware of SAP as users of SAP. So initially when I was in metal management, I handled the MM module, metal management module, then PS module now. So different module have a different T codes, and different data has been stored, and different way of reports do generate from these ERP systems. If you have a prior knowledge on this, it is always a good thing to know. And I think those companies who have already adapted to ERP systems like SAP, in the interview, definitely it will give a competitive edge. And you should put more focus on and keep touch, so that you don't lose touch on it.
Yeah.
Keep on practicing.
Keep on brushing up your skills.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, I know maybe one or two questions. So what you can do is you can just connect with Vishwa on LinkedIn. He has his LinkedIn profile with the name Vishwa Prakash, and I think he'll be really very happy to answer your questions. So thank you so much, Vishwa, for addressing our students. I know you had a very tough day, and we asked Vishwa, please, we want you to do this for us. And he's like, ma'am, I have my regular day. So I said, okay, we'll do it in the evening. But thank you so much. I think, to be really honest, it was very, very informative. The students actually learn about different intricacies that are involved in corporate world. It's not an easy job. Finance is not a desk job. It consists of many other skill set to be successful in your corporate journey. And thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm so sorry to bother you guys in the late evening.
No, I think it was a good learning experience for them.
I seriously enjoyed a lot interacting with you guys. Definitely, when this COVID should move out, and definitely we'll come back to the college and meet you guys in person. And I'm seriously excited. I was seriously excited for this session. And it was very good meeting with you guys. And I have to thank Neha ma'am, and I have to thank PK sir for this opportunity. Thank you so much, guys. And definitely you can please get in touch with my LinkedIn. So some of them are already got in touch with my LinkedIn.
Yeah, they must have shared your request to your LinkedIn request. And the comments are wonderful. Thank you so much, Vishwa. From me and from the entire batch, we had a very wonderful and a very informative session. And there were certain things which even I was not even aware of. So it was really informative for me as well. So thank you so much. And thank you, guys. I'll see you next Wednesday with another alumni, another story, another journey. So thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.